So, today we are going to learn about direct and indirect speech. So, let's first know what is the difference between the two. When we use the exact words of the speaker to report what he or she has said, we use the direct speech. So, when we are using direct speech, whatever the speaker has said would be put inside inverted commas. And the speaker, along with the reporting the verb which is expressing what the speaker said or told or maybe advised or maybe requested. So we use a reporting verb here to indicate that whether the speaker has said that or directed that or ordered that or advised that. So we use a reporting verb for that. And the speaker along with the reporting verb is separated from the actual speech with the help of a comma. And the actual speech, which is called the reported speech, is put inside inverted commas. And it is a complete sentence of its own. It will start with a capital letter, end with one of the punctuation marks with a full stop, question mark, or maybe an exclamation mark. And then it will end with a inverted comma which is closing. Whereas the indirect speech is exactly the opposite. In this, we don't use the speaker's words. We use our own words to report what the speaker had said. So it is called as indirect speech, where we will not use any of these punctuations like comma, inverted commas, because we are just telling whatever the speaker had told in our own words. But yes, we use a word that. We introduce this word that when we remove the inverted commas. So we'll say, my sister told me that. Now whatever she would have told, that we will mention here, but without the inverted commas, in our own words, that she was going to Ladakh. If the sister would have said, she would say, I will go to Ladakh. Yes, the sister will use I for herself. But now I am reporting it. My sister told me that she was going to Ladakh the week after. Okay? So the reported speech or the direct speech, they both are giving us the same information but in two different ways. Here we are quoting the exact words of the speaker, and here we are using our own words to express the same. Now they can be interchanged into each other. They can be converted from one form to another. So let's see the different rules for doing the same thing. The first rule that we must keep in mind is the tense. Whenever you are converting a direct speech to indirect speech, the tense has to change. And how it has to change? We have to look into a lot of rules. First, we will look at the tense of the reporting verb. The verb which is being used along with the speaker. So the tense of the reporting verb defines the tense of the whole sentence of the indirect speech. If the reporting verb of the direct speech is in present tense, says, or in future tense, will say, then in the indirect speech we will use the same tense that was given in the direct speech. We will not change this tense. It will remain just as it is. For example, he says, I'm going to school. So we will just use that for removing the inverted commas. He says that, yes, the pronoun will change. He is going to school. So now with he we will use is. Here with I am was used. So he is going to school. Still it is remaining in present tense. Or he will say, I am studying, future tense. So it will remain same. He will say that. Now I will be replaced by he. So he is studying. So whenever the reporting verb is in present tense or in future tense, the tense of the verb in the indirect speech is not changed. But if the reporting verb is in past tense, said, then we have to change the tense of the reported speech. And how do we change the tense? In what form should we change it? That also has lots of rules. So if this statement is in simple present now, so it will be changed into simple past. See, here I mentioned simple present tense is changed into simple past only when the reporting verb is said. The reporting verb over here along with the speaker says said in past tense. Then we are following these rules. So it will be, he said, I play football. So he said that he played football. Simple present is changed into simple past. If it is present continuous, he said, I am writing an essay. So it is changed into past continuous. Since it was happening for some time in the present, now when you are expressing it in your words, still it will be happening for a period of time. So it has to remain in continuous tense. So he said that he was writing an essay. Now if it is in present perfect tense, he said, I have written an essay. So it has already been completed. It is being told that it has been done, but its effect is still there in the present. So when you change it into indirect speech, you will change present perfect into past perfect. Has or have will be changed to had. He said that he had written an essay. And in indirect speech, we don't use these inverted commas because we are removing them. Then only we are putting this that. Okay. Then if the statement being said here is already in past tense, in simple past tense, then we change it into past perfect again. Like he said, I wrote a letter. So he said that he had written a letter. In past perfect tense, we use had along with the past participle form of the verb. The third form, write, wrote, written. So here the past participle form of the verb would be used. He said that he had written a letter. Then if the statement is in past continuous tense, we'll be using past perfect continuous tense. See, I've jotted down a table out here. Simple present changes to simple past. Present continuous changes to past continuous. Present perfect changes to past perfect. Simple past changes to past perfect. Past continuous changes to past perfect continuous. Because already had is used. Already there is was over here. So it will be changed into now had been writing. I was writing an essay. Past continuous. So he had been writing an essay. Past perfect continuous. Now if the statements are already there in these past perfect and past perfect continuous, we don't change the tense because already they are there in past. Like the storm had damaged the roads. So he said that the storms had damaged the roads. Sagufta had been dancing. Past perfect continuous. So it will remain same, just that will be introduced and the inverted commas would be removed. He said that Sagufta had been dancing. Okay. So past tense is done, present tense is done, and for future tense, the simple rule for future tense is will is changed to would. Shall is changed to should. And if we have modals being used like can, so they are changed to could. May is changed to might. Here the rules go. So he said, I will write a letter. He said that he would write a letter. So just will is changed to would and the base form of the verb is used same ways. If it is shall or should, it will be can. So it would be should or could. Okay. So the tenses are clear. Then we'll move on to this pronoun part. How do we change these pronouns depending upon what rules? So let's see the rules. So if the speaker here is in first person means I. So then this pronoun over here, this subject inside the reported speech would remain the same. Again, we'll use I only when we are writing indirect speech. I said that I wanted to go to the summer camp. Of course, the tense of the sentence will change, but the pronoun will remain the same if the speaker is in first person. If the speaker is in second person, like you, then the subject inside the reported speech will also change to second person. Like you said, I'm unwell today. So you had said so. So when I'm reporting this to someone, I will say you said that you were unwell. The tense has to change to past tense. So you were unwell that day. We don't use today. That's an indicator of time. And if we say you were unwell today, the meaning of the sentence will change. You were talking about some other day. So that is why we don't use the word today. In place of today, we use that day. And there are other time indicators also. Like if it is tonight, we will say that night. If it is tomorrow, we will use the word the next day or the day after or maybe the following day. If it is yesterday, it would be the previous day or the day before. If it is now, then we use then, or at times we use at that time. Then just like time, if we are talking about place, like if it's here, so it will be changed to there. If you're talking about thing, like this is my house, so that is my house. If it is these, like these shoes are mine. So when you're changing it into indirect, these will be changed to those. Those shoes were mine. Okay? So coming back to these, first person and second person is done. Now if it is, the speaker is in third person, like she said. So here also, the subject of the reported speech will change into third person. She said that she was studying. Of course, not was studying, because we have to change the tense. Past continuous is there, so it will become past perfect continuous. She had been studying. Okay? Now, this could be he also, so it would become he. If it's a name like Swati said, so name would be replaced by which pronoun? She. If it is Rakesh said, so it would be replaced with he again. If it is in plural form, like they said they were studying. Or they will say, they said we were studying. So accordingly, it would be we over here. So we is changed to they. When you're writing in indirect speech, they said that they were studying. So we have to keep in mind the number of the subject also. Like there's an example here. They said we live in Mumbai. So they said that they live in Mumbai. So we is changed to they. He is changed. Here it is third person, he. So this I will change to he. He said that he liked music. Okay. Now let's learn a little bit about the punctuation marks also. We have to correctly use the punctuation marks, especially when you're converting an indirect statement back into a direct statement. Indirect speech is being changed into direct speech. So you'll have to keep in mind all these punctuation marks. So the first thing is we use inverted commas. Whatever has been said by the speaker, so first identify that. My brother said that he was going to the exhibition. So the speaker would have said what? That he is going to the exhibition. Now he will not use he for himself. He will use I for himself. So all that part has to come inside the inverted commas. I am going to the exhibition. And whatever is there inside the inverted commas, it should start with capital letter and with a proper punctuation mark. If it's a question mark. If it's a statement, a full stop. If it's a exclamatory statement, then an exclamation mark. Okay? Then the introductory verb in the direct speech means the reporting verb, which I said. Like Kasim said. So the speaker will have a reporting verb also, like advised or told or asked. So after this reporting verb, we put a comma. So Kasim said, we have an addressee also. Addressee means to whoever he is saying it to. Like Kasim said to me. So the whole thing, Kasim said to me, would be separated from whatever has been said with the help of a comma. Okay? Understood? And when you're converting this direct speech into indirect, we don't use these commas also and these inverted commas also. In place of it, we just use that. And remember children, this full stop or this question mark, it should remain inside the inverted commas. It should not be outside the inverted commas in the direct speech. Okay, and then the time and place indicators we have already gone through. So now let's discuss about different types of sentences. Like it could be an assertive sentence with a full stop which is being converted into indirect. It could be a question sentence, an interrogative one with a question mark. So whatever be the kind of a sentence, it could be an exclamatory sentence with an exclamation mark at the end. Whatever may be the type of sentence, when it is converted into indirect, it will always be a normal statement, an assertive statement with a full stop at the end. So there might be rules for changing different types of sentences. So let's see the rules. So for assertive sentences, means normal sentences with a full stop at the end. If we have a addressee over here, means an object for the speaker said. If it is just the speaker said, then in the indirect speech also we will say the speaker said, whoever is the speaker and whatever has been said. But if we have a object over here, an indirect object which is telling us like the speaker said to whom, like the king said to his ministers, the teacher said to the students. So if we have an indirect object over here, an addressee to whom something has been said, in that case, in indirect speech, we don't use the word said. We use the word told in place of said to. And we use the word to with said, but we don't use this word to with told. We say the king told his ministers. In place of said to, we use told. And then whatever has been told, that is written following the rules of tenses, pronouns, everything. Like this is a trick. So this is in present tense. This will be converted into past. And this will be replaced with that. That was a trick. And when we remove the inverted commas and this comma, we use the word that. The king told his ministers that that was a trick. There's nothing wrong in using the word that twice, because this that is for replacing these inverted commas and comma. And this that is for this. Okay? Then if the sentence is an interrogative sentence, means a question sentence, then always remember that whether it's a question sentence, we will always write the indirect speech in an assertive form only. It will not be a question with a question mark at the end. It will be a normal statement with a full stop at the end. We have to convert it in such a way. And while doing the conversions, here when it's a question statement with a question mark, we don't use the word said. Instead of it, we use the word ask or inquire. Of course, it would be in past tense because the reporting verb is in past. So, asked or inquired. And then, in question statements which are beginning with a WH word, when it is beginning with a WH word, we don't use that. We instead use this WH word only. It performs the function of that. When we are removing the inverted commas and the comma over here, we will use directly this WH word. Harish said, "Why is Rama crying?" So Harish asked why Rama was crying. Another thing, when we ask a question, after the question word, we often have the verb. This is the verb and then the subject. This is the helping verb. So first we have the helping verb, then we have the subject, and then we have the main verb in a question sentence. But when you are doing the conversion of direct into indirect, the question sentence has to change into an assertive statement, a normal statement, and in normal statements, the subject come first. Though there will be this question word, but this question word is performing the function of that. So the subject will come before, and then the helping verb and the main verb will come together. So Harish asked why, subject, Rama was crying. Why is Rama crying is in present tense. So it has to be converted into simple past. Rama was crying. And then a full stop at the end. Okay. Now it might not start with a question word, and it might start like with verbs like do, does, are, is. Like we do say, is this your pencil? Are those your notebooks? So that's also a question. Is this your pencil? Do you have an extra pencil? Does this house belong to you? Did you really steal? So all these are questions. So how do we convert these sentences, because we don't have a question word? So in such cases, also we don't use that. Instead of it, we use if. So Putul said, do you have an extra pencil? So Putul inquired, or we could have said asked, since it's an inquiry being made. Do you have an extra pencil? So it's better to use inquired. Putul inquired if I had an extra pencil. This you is referring to me. So that will be replaced with the pronoun I. If I had an extra pencil, because this was in present perfect tense, so it has to change into past perfect tense. Okay? Or if it is like, Rani asked, shall I open the window? So now the question here is again starting with a verb. Shall I open the window? So when we convert it into indirect speech, so instead of this we'll use if. And what it would be, Rani asked if. I will be replaced with the third person. Rani has the pronoun she. So Rani asked if she should open the window. Should will be used in place of shall. You remember, will is changed to would and shall is changed to should. Okay? And after the should, we often use the base form of the verb only. So future tense sentence. So the only difference is in question sentences, we don't use the word that. Instead of it, we use the word if. And rest, all the rules have to be applied in the same ways. The tense rule, the pronoun rule, all of those rules. Same ways in imperative sentences, where a request is being made, or a command is being given, or an advice is being given. In such cases, we need to identify whether it's an imperative sentence, and if it is an imperative one, then first the reporting verbs would be used accordingly. If it's an advice, we can use the reporting verb advised or urged. If it's a request, we can use the word requested or pleaded or asked also sometimes. If it's a command, it's an order, then we can use ordered or told. Or if it's a proposal, means a kind of a suggestion is being made. So we can use the verb suggested or proposed. If it's a prohibition, means something is being denied, stopping someone from doing something. So we use the word forbid, and the past tense would be forbade. So if it's an imperative sentence, we use such reporting verbs along with the speaker. And then we don't use the word that again. Instead of it, what we do is we convert the verb of the quoted words, whatever has been said in the text by the speaker, we use the infinitive form of the verb. Like if it is lend, so it would be to lend. If it is move, so it would become to move. And we start the statement with to move after the speaker. After the infinite, not just to move, any verb whichever is being used. Like, he said to Varshini, lend me your book, please. So it's a kind of a request. Please is indicating a request. So we'll say, he requested. Now requested whom? He requested Varshini. Now that will not be there. Instead of it, just the infinitive form of the verb. He requested Varshini to lend him. Lend me. Me is for he. He will be replaced with him. Lend me your book. Your is for Varshini. So Varshini will be replaced with the pronoun her book. So to lend him her book. A full stop. Same ways, if there's a statement like be quiet, said the principal. So if the principal is giving some order out here, be quiet. So we can use the word ordered, and she's giving the order to whom? To the children who would be there in front of her. So you can say the principal ordered them Now what was the verb? Quiet. And what will be the infinitive form? Be quiet. So to be quiet. Okay. Same ways, the monitor said to the students, do not lean on the wall. So here the monitor is stopping them from doing something. Do not lean on the wall. He is prohibiting them. So we can use the word forbade. The monitor forbade. Now forbade whom? Immediately we use the object, the indirect object. Forbade the students. And since it's an imperative statement, so the infinitive form of the verb lean, to lean on the wall. So it stopped them from leaning on the wall. Okay. Then if it's an exclamatory sentence, like some joy is being expressed or some surprise is being expressed, like if I say, she said, wow, it's a beautiful painting. So she's expressing her surprise at it. It's having an exclamation mark at the end. So for such statements, when you convert them into indirect speech, we use the reporting verb exclaimed. Instead of said, like we were using ordered, advised, asked over here. So in such statements, we use exclaimed. So she exclaimed that. We use the word that over here, and then we convert this into a normal statement. And we apply the same rules of converting it into past tense. So she exclaimed that it was a beautiful painting, and a full stop should be put at the end of it. And sometimes you can also use the word remarked in place of it. Like if it's a kind of a remark being made, like a positive remark or maybe a negative remark. Like if I say, the teacher said, how bad your handwriting is. So this is an expression. She's expressing her surprise, like how bad your handwriting is. And moreover, children, always remember that whenever a statement is ending with a verb at the end, handwriting, how bad your handwriting is. So that means it's an exclamatory sentence. And when you're converting an exclamatory sentence into indirect speech, so you will use the word that. So the teacher said that, or it's a kind of a remark she's making. So we can use the teacher remarked that, converted into a normal sentence. Though it is beginning with the word how, but it is expressing the surprise at it. So it's in kind of a exclamatory sentence. So the teacher said that. Now it was referring to me, so that my handwriting was very bad, and a full stop. So converted into a normal assertive sentence. And of course, keeping in mind the rules of converting it into past tense, present tense changes into past. The pronouns have to change here. Your is referring to me. So how and how is replaced with that. So the teacher remarked that my handwriting was very bad. Okay, so be careful that first you will identify the type of sentence and accordingly use the reporting verb in assertive sentences, interrogative sentences, exclamatory sentences and imperative sentences. And then you would be applying all the rules of the tenses, pronouns and the time and place indicators also. If now is being used anywhere, you will use then. If today is being used, it would be replaced with that day. So these rules will always be applied. And if you're converting an indirect statement back into direct, then you need to put proper punctuation marks. You have to use a comma after the speaker and the reporting verb. And if there's an object of the reporting verb, then that object will also be outside the inverted commas. Means Harish said to me. And then the inverted commas will start. And Harish said to me will be separated with the quoted text with the help of a comma. And whatever has been said, that would be inside inverted commas, and it would be a complete statement of its own, beginning with a capital letter, ending with a punctuation mark. Whether it's a question, then it's a question mark. If it's a normal statement, then a full stop. If it's an exclamatory statement, then an exclamation mark. Okay.